with Kyle Shanahan, I'm trying to figure out, he's an offensive genius, quote unquote. And I'm trying to figure out his taste in quarterbacks. It's weird. You know how you have the one friend and you're like, I don't get their taste in girls. Like I don't he likes a certain type and I don't understand it. If Kirk Cousins is Kyle Shanahan's like man crush, and then he took Garoppolo and they're getting ready to get rid of him, how much should I trust like Kyle Shanahan's talent evaluation for being this offensive genius if he's so in love with Kirk Cousins? And what's the right type of fit for Shanahan's offense?
So I think that this has been, if Kyle Shanahan is as smart as we believe he is, I think that he's evolved a little bit over the past couple of years. Back in 2017, during an interview, he talked about the mobile versus immobile, more immobile quarterbacks, and said that, the more immobile guys, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, they've always been that way. So they've always had to play from within the pocket and be intelligent and be able to go through reads and defenses and be able to just process things quicker than everybody else. But I think it was last year, they might have played Josh Allen, and they talked about mobility after the game, and that's when you started to hear like he might be looking for a more mobile guy going forward in the future. And so that's why everybody kind of thought, Trey Lance or Justin Fields would be that guy. I know that in a QB camp that his father runs, Kyle's father runs, for high school kids, Justin Fields was there. They apparently liked him. When it comes to this whole pro day thing, I don't know what to take from that. This is Mac Jones' second pro day. He already tested. I don't know why they would go to this outside of they're just trying to decide between Mac Jones and Trey Lance, and Justin Fields just might not even be in the picture anymore.
Could it be that he likes – his best year came in Atlanta. Could it be that he just likes an accurate – like his scheme supposedly just gets receivers wide open? Could it be that his absolute preference at quarterback is a assassin with accuracy, and that's what Mac Jones is? And
this is what I don't understand the most, is that when people go through and they chart these things. If you look at Ian Wharton, who charts quarterbacks, I chart quarterbacks. I know a lot of people on Twitter do. Justin Fields, just from pure accuracy, was the most accurate of all of the quarterbacks this year, from the top quarterbacks. And it's not talked about because his stock has somehow fallen all the way down, even though he's going to run in the mid 4.4s to, 4.50. He's super athletic. He's super accurate. It's those games in the middle of the year, the Northwestern game, the Nebraska game, that just really dropped off his stock. And I don't understand it, because then he went and played Brent Venables, who throws the absolute kitchen sink at you, got hurt ribs in the middle of that game, and still dominated Trevor Lawrence for the second time. So I don't understand what Justin Fields did to deserve this tank in draft stock, but it seems that it's a real thing.
All right, we have Dalton Miller in studio right here on 105.3 The Fan, our maturing draft analyst, also runs our Twitch and fan cam streams. Now let's move on to the Dolphins. I love the message. I don't know if I agree with the evaluation. They basically said, I think, Tua's our guy. We're not drafting his replacement. I don't know whether they still try to work something out with the Texans or not, but this sends the biggest QB message sent was, we're done with Garoppolo and Tua is our guy. What do you think about what Miami did, sticking with Tua, and what they could take at 6 and 18?
Yeah, I think coming back from the injury, I think you give him a little bit of a grace period. You go with him in this next season. This is a team that has been built incredibly well over the past couple of years. They still have a ton of draft assets in the next year as well. So I think that if they need to next year, they can make a move for a quarterback somewhere. There's also just a ton of quarterbacks around that can be a bridge until they can get another guy. But when it comes to pick 6 and pick 18, from everything I've heard, they want one of the 2 Alabama wide receivers at 6. And I think that's why they ended up moving back up from 12, so they can try to secure at least one of those 2 guys overall. I think that just from a fit perspective with 2 guys that can separate really well, which is something that Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle do, Jamar Chase is more of that physical, 50-50 ball specimen. He's going to work off of defenders and win at the catch point. And Devontae Smith is really good at that too, but he also creates great separation. And I think that that's what they want for Tua. At 18, I think that they really need to look at the interior of their offensive line. I think that they could look at center. Creed Humphrey tested as the best center prospect of all time. And I know that these are pro days and not official combines, which, probably pump the numbers up a little bit. But, some of the question marks around him were, is he a high-end athlete? And he proved that he is. He's a first-round guy, and I think that they could do that. They could also go offensive tackle there. I think that, Robert Hunt is a guy that they picked for right tackle last year. Left tackle Austin Jackson was a first-round pick. None of those guys, I think, are very good right now. I think that they could upgrade there at 18. And they could also just go Najee Harris at 18 and go Devontae Smith to a Tagovailoa at quarterback and Najee Harris at 18. And I see you, Chop. I understand it, and I understand what you're saying here. But they really want a gap power style running back, and he's that fit. He also is a great pass catcher out of the backfield. I think that that's kind of where Najee's ceiling is.
I was going to go with Philly, Sean. What about Philadelphia at 12? I mean, will there be one of the three wide receivers there for them?
So there could be one of the three wide receivers. I think if one of the wide receivers is there, it's going to be Jalen Waddle, and I would hate that for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is where it kind of goes to the Dallas Cowboys as well. You have the Giants right behind you, and then right behind them, the Philadelphia Eagles. If Kyle Pitts and Jalen Waddle are both on the board at 10, I'm taking one of those two players simply so I do not have to face one of them twice a year. Because those next two picks should be Jalen Waddle and Kyle Pitts in some order. And so I don't want to have to face those guys twice a year. I saw what Kyle Pitts is able to do against Patrick Surtain. I know that Jalen Waddle knows how to beat Patrick Surtain. So if the Dallas Cowboys take Patrick Surtain, it doesn't help me much because I saw what Pitts is able to do against him.